When?
I'm doing good, actually.
So welcome, everyone. Here we are, Tuesday evening, and this is session 5 of 8. Can you believe it? Right?
Yeah.
Goes quickly. And we are in strange times. So what we're going to do is we're going to have an opening circle. Then we'll touch base on the roadmap. Our contemplative exercise tonight is going to be a breath work exercise. We'll talk about abundance and authenticity, and then we get to play the Unlimited Possibilities game, which is super fun. And hopefully everyone saw my message about coming with their passion profile completed. We'll talk about homework, and then we'll have our closing circle. So what I'd like, given our unique situation these days, I would love for you to check in with whatever you need to share to feel that you have arrived and can be present in the circle. So I guess I'll go first. Why not? I think what I need to share is that things feel very odd. And at the same time, I work from home always, and I'm on Zoom all day, always. So in some ways it doesn't feel any different, and yet it is extremely different. And I think I've been more aware of needing to not check in with Facebook and the news as often as I had been kind of late last week. So with that, I am in and I am present with you all. So who would like to go next?
Sure, I'll go. It's Nancy. So same here. I've been working from home a lot the last 2 weeks, even though we just officially started to do it this week. And I'm consciously just not watching the news. I had it on now for a little bit and realized that it just makes me anxious. So if I stay in my little bubble, I can kind of manage this way. And so I will control what I can control. And that's being here with you all and fully participating. So here I am.
Welcome. Okay, who would like to check in next?
I'll check in.
Okay.
I'm good. I was just telling Nancy, I live a pretty isolated life anyway. So now it's just people are bonding around it. So it's actually an improvement. Everyone's touching base with each other. I mean, of course, in terms of the wider world, it is scary. I recognize that. But I managed to get out and walk today. So I think I've had a good day despite the current events, the things that are happening. So I'm here. I'm munching on something. If that disturbs anyone, let me know.
Thank you.
My wife connected, so I didn't hear all of that. Well, it's kind of weird for me because I kind of work in an industry where things like the news and stuff that happens is what I would do. So sometimes it's hard to disconnect from it, although I do get tired of it as well. And I did do a little bit of just watching something else where the news is not on, trying to find like a movie or, things like that. This, where I am now, it's a little different, even though it's still within TV. It's not news in the way that I've worked in it in the past, although it's still a reality. So there's that. I live alone, so you know, that whole thing about social distancing, I kind of already have a little bit of that, you know, just from, you know, living alone and all of that stuff. So, but it is weird. It's, you know, weird to go to the store and see the shelves empty and, you know, trying to find things, but, you know, dealing with it as best as possible.
Thank you. Valeria?
For me, well, I share with everyone's sentiment about not watching news too much. For me, this past week, well, I got my first impact of the virus in the sense that the biggest client contract that I had for the year got frozen. Not canceled, which is good. I guess that's a silver lining, but frozen until indefinitely, probably the fall or next year. We don't know. So I was relying on that contract to cover a lot of my expenses. So that's kind of, you know, I had to let it sink in a little. But tying it back to what we discussed last week, which is something that I've been thinking about a lot, is the difference between self-compassion and self-sabotage. And so I'm trying to be very, very mindful not to fall into a spiral of a self-sabotage. It's not going to help me. And instead be more proactive and you know, practicing more self-compassion. It's more useful.
I love that. Thank you. And how are you specifically practicing self-compassion, would you say?
Well, by catching myself when I'm about to fall into self-sabotage. Becoming more aware of that and try not to let like news like that. It actually happened yesterday when I got that news. It derailed my day, and so I wasn't as productive with other work things that I needed to do. But today I decided consciously to pick myself up, and I was like, you know, don't think about it too much. There's nothing you can do about it right now. It's outside of your control. Focus on the things that you can control.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think because things have shifted for all of us so quickly, asking ourselves the question, what is the opportunity for me here? Especially as it relates to creating your vision and stepping forward into that vision. So I'd be curious to know, when you hear me ask that question, what is the opportunity for you right now? What comes up? I'd like to hear each of you just share what comes up for you.
What's coming up for me is creating community. It's just amazing. First of all, I was laid off. Now everybody's being laid off. So I'm not happy about that, but there's this feeling like, you know, I'm not alone. And then I've been reaching out to people in California that I haven't spoken to in a long time. I mean, people are reaching out. I'm looking right here at my wall. My personal trainer and this meditation person that I get emails from, they both have schedules of stuff that they're doing, extra stuff to create community online. So it's interesting that, you know, my whole issue is around like support and community, the lack thereof a lot. And so this is an opportunity to realize there is community all around, at least right now. So that's almost like, that's for me personally, like a little bit of a gift, you know, so that's surprising and nice in a good way.
Thank you for sharing that.
Okay. Oh, geez, okay. Oh, anyway, go ahead. I just got an email from a friend that I was estranged from. I'm not going to check it. I'm going to text.
Okay. Who else wants to share what came up for them when I asked the question, what's the opportunity for you here, especially as it relates to your vision and soul work?
Well, for me, you know, I've been asking myself that question. I have not yet come up with an answer in terms of, you know, the actual work, but I see this as an opportunity as, you know, inevitably work slows down and I'm going to have more free time to utilize that time to really dig in and plan and take more steps so that I can then pivot when the time is right, you know. Because otherwise, if I were busier with client work, I would have less time to, you know, to try to make the change, or at least set the change in motion.
Okay. So time and utilizing that time. Great. Nancy, Dolores. Yeah. You're muted, Nancy.
Okay. So both of you have
Oh no,
shared things
Nancy.
that
So
make sense for me
Nancy,
as well. I think because
Nancy,
I'm working from home.
Nancy. We couldn't hear you in the beginning. Was it just me? Okay, so
No.
could you turn your video off for just a second while you give, or turn your video off and answer so that the bandwidth isn't. Thank you.
Yeah, I see that we are losing bandwidth a lot. So, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 So I'll get right to the point. Really figuring out how I want to work and how I want to live in this constrained environment so that I'm making really mindful, focused choices and having the freedom to be able to do that because of the uncertainty.
And do you have any, when you say figuring out, so the opportunity is figuring out how I want to work and live within the constrained environment, what ideas are most sparkly for you right
Yeah,
now?
so things like, similar to what Sue said, a yoga instructor is offering these classes during the day and I'm taking advantage of doing something at 11 o'clock or at 4 o'clock or whatever it might be. Taking a walk in the middle of the day to go do something, you know, just putting it on my schedule.
Yeah. Okay, great. I love that. Putting it on my schedule. Okay. Dolores.
Well, today was really, well, today and yesterday were really the first days where, you know, I'm, you know, in the house and working. So it's different where I've been freelance in the past, but it was sort of on my schedule and I was able to make it. This is because, you know, now I'm working for an organization, so all of the schedule isn't necessarily mine. And if it's as it was today, time is a real issue for me. But it's also been an issue when I've been in the office. Because of, I think, you know, some of the people that I work with and the nature of things. And I was just sort of thinking to myself, I don't want to sit up here on a computer all day, you know, talking to somebody on Zoom and, you know, all these, you know, multiple things back and forth. And then some of them are, you know, can be very last minute. So some of it's a little haphazard. And I understand with everything that's going on, things change back and forth. But I'm not really sure what are some of the things that I can create. I have seen some emails as well from different people offering, you know, classes or just sort of talks and things like that. So I'm hoping that maybe I can do some of that. But I feel like I need more than that. It's not going to be enough. So I don't know.
Okay, so it's still emerging for you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's go back to our deck here. All right. So today's session, number 5, is about abundance and authenticity. So those were the chapters that you dove into over this past week. And abundance and authenticity is the second part of that be yourself phase, the present, where we're taking a holistic look at our lives. So before we get into talking about abundance and authenticity, I'm going to take you through some breath work. And the breath work that I'm going to take you through is called Anuloma Viloma, also known as alternate nostril breathing. And it helps to balance the hemispheres of the brain. And really what this practice is good for is to help us, the practitioner, to become non-reactive, okay? So to become a witness to our circumstances. Now, when they say without reacting, right, to watch intense energy and emotion without reacting, they're not talking about us not ever responding to circumstances in our life. It's what they're referring to there is not like unconsciously reacting. So with everything that's going on, there is a lot of anxiety that people are feeling. And I think to some degree, we're all, it's like starting to feed on itself. In other words, I didn't feel so anxious myself, but I went to the grocery store last week, 2 days in a row, and I noticed that I was feeling anxious when I was in the grocery store. So I felt like some of that might have been I was picking up on other people's anxiety, as well as the actual circumstances within the grocery store with long lines and, as you can imagine. And then what's the second quote here, when our attention flows outward, it increases our identification with the outer world. When our attention flows inward, we have the experience of being part of something beyond our ego mind. So the purpose of this breath work is, and really any contemplative practice, is to help us go inward and connect with the bigger self, the higher self, that which is beyond our immediate daily concerns and worries. Okay. So Anuloma Viloma, I'm gonna show you what it looks like first, and then I'm gonna guide you through it. Okay. So you're gonna take, and you don't have to do it right now, or you can if you want to, but you're gonna take your right hand. So it looks on the screen, it looks like my left hand, but it's my right hand. And you're gonna take your thumb. You're gonna use your thumb and your ring finger. Okay. Now, some people teach it that your fingers go up here. You can put your fingers up there. Now, we're touching our faces. I know that. So just make sure you wash your hands and wash your face after class, right? Hopefully, I'm assuming you're all at home, so I'm assuming your hands are clean already. So what you're going to do is I'm going to guide you to close your right nostril, and then I'm going to guide you to inhale on the left, through the left nostril for a count of 4. Then you're going to close both nostrils, and I'm going to guide you to hold it for a count of 16. Okay. And then you're going to release the right nostril and exhale to a count of 8. Then we're going to inhale on the right hand side for a count of 4. Hold, close and hold. So close both nostrils, hold the breath. I'll count to 16. We're going to exhale on the left side for a count of 8. Then inhale for a count of 4, hold for 16, exhale for 8, inhale for 4. So what you may notice is that you may not, but you may think like, oh my God, I can't get enough breath in the 4 count. So usually what I find is on the inhale or on the 4 count, I make sure to try and fill the lungs full. right? And so the inhale comes in, you have to pull it in a little faster. And then on the exhale, rather than it being like this thing, right, where you're just like, oh, you want it to, you want to see if you can have some control over the exhale and see if you can make the exhale regular for the whole count of 8 and essentially be at the end of your exhale at the end of the 8. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So let's give it a go. Okay. All right. So, and if you want to, you can close your eyes and just listen to me. I may close my eyes too. In fact, I think I'm going to. So seal the right nostril with the right thumb. Inhale on the left side for a count of 4. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4. Seal both nostrils, holding, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Exhaling on the right. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhaling on the right. 2, 3, 4. Seal and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Exhaling on the left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale on the left. 2, 3, 4. Seal and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Exhaling on the right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhaling right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. Seal and seal and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Exhaling on the left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale left. 2, 3, 4. Seal and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Exhaling on the right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale on the right. 2, 3, 4. Seal and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Exhaling on the left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale on the left. 2, 3, 4. Seal and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Exhaling right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhaling right. 2, 3, 4. Seal and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Exhaling on the left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Release your hands down to your lap. Eyes closed. Breathe naturally and easily. Notice what's present for you in your body. Notice what's present for you behind your eyelids. Notice what's present for you in your listening. All right. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale it out. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come on back. Okay. How was that for you? Was that hard? Easy?
I've done that before, but not with a 16 count. And the 16 count was very uncomfortable. And I'm almost wondering if you think that's useful, because then when you're at the end, when I was at the end, it was a real sense of relaxation coming back to normal breath.
Mm-hmm.
Was that intentional, Kelly? Do you know, or is that just the way you learned it? Or
Well, that's the way I learned it. That's definitely the way I learned it. But there is, in all of a yoga practice, so that's a, pranayama or breath practice. And even with asana practice or the postures, there is this experience of effort and relaxation, stretching ourselves, or like getting to the place of our edge and then relaxing in and experiencing sort of the release that comes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's move on then. All right. Abundance. The principle is abundance. The practice is grow prosperous habits. And this includes our mindset about abundance. It does include the whole money thing. It also includes our approach to time, right? I think time has become one of our most precious resources these days. Abundance as it relates to opportunities. And when I think about abundance, I think what really came up for me in the last week, at least, was my, going to the grocery store. There was this like scarcity thing that came up, and there was an edge there for me, and I guess there's a guy by the name of Alex Korb, and he wrote a book by the name of Grateful Brain. And he says that our minds cannot focus on positive and negative information at the same time. So if we want to have an experience of abundance, and really when we think about an experience of abundance, yeah, sure, it could mean an abundance of like actually having the thing, an abundance of time, or an abundance of money, or an abundance of opportunities, or I think more potently, having a feeling. Our experience of abundance could simply be the feeling of abundance. When I was in New York City, I was running an outdoor yoga adventures business for a few years. And I was practicing a lot of Kundalini yoga. And there were some prosperity types of meditations and breath practices and kriyas that I was doing. And, it's not like I had a whole lot of money in the bank, but I felt had a literal experience, a visceral experience of abundance day in and day out. I felt prosperous. And it really was a striking experience for me. And so I guess the question here then is, if our minds cannot focus on positive and negative information at the same time, and what is a practice you can adopt to build the feeling of abundance, a feeling of okayness, a feeling of fullness, that feeling of positivity? So gratitude is actually a practice that has been well studied at this point. And there is, I guess I should stop sharing the screen. There is a lot of research around how gratitude is a wonderful practice to help us feel more optimistic and more positive in our lives. So for you, what I'd like you to noodle on is, what is a practice you can adopt that can help you build a feeling of abundance, a feeling of okayness, a feeling of fullness? And it could be around money, it could be around opportunities, it could be around ideas for your vision. I'm not going to ask for your input at this point on it, because I want to make sure we have enough time for the Unlimited Possibilities game. So we're going to move on to authenticity. Now, authenticity, the principle, and find and develop passions is the practice. And we're going to do the Unlimited Possibilities game here shortly. I just want to kind of talk about this for a little bit. And as you saw on the passion profile, there's 4 different areas, right, where you had explored and checked off, or circled, really what you did is circled what you needed in terms of, or what resonates for you in terms of interests, talents, style, environment. And a few years ago, so I've been a coach for 15 years. And I think I probably shared this with you, but I didn't embrace it full time as my full-time career until 2 to 3 years ago. But I've been coaching for 15 years. And as it happened, the last thing I was doing before I embraced, or the thing I was doing probably for 5 years prior to embracing coaching full time, is I was doing project management, and I was also doing some operations work. And I did it at 2 different companies. And in both experiences, I felt undervalued. I felt like I wasn't being valued. And what I realized is, for me, the work that I was doing, the tasks themselves, so in this case, it would be the interests, I suppose, and the talents, right? Those 2 areas were not shining for me. And without those 2 being present, the result was that I felt like I wasn't being valued because I wasn't doing work that I valued. It had nothing to do with like how people were treating me, or what they were saying to me, or how they were responding to my work. I had all sorts of stories about that. And I'm not going to go into them here. But it really came down to the fact that I wasn't doing work that I thought was valuable. So I felt like I wasn't valued. And that's when I made the decision to embrace coaching full time, because I needed to be people first. I needed to be using my strength in curiosity, using my strength in inquiry, using my strength in reflection, being able to liberate and incorporate my intuition into my work, being able to incorporate my strength and interest in synthesis in my work. So I get to use all of those in coaching. So I share that because it really is, oftentimes, I like to think of, we hear it in this Pivot with Purpose program. There's these 4 categories: interest, talent, style, environment. There's another way that I like to look at it, in that, I think of tasks, and I think of environment, which includes people as well as the physical environment. And the tasks really, for me, incorporate interests and talents. And then there's kind of the mission of the company, or the mission of around the work where you're doing that. And that, I think, incorporates interests as well as environment. And if what you're doing, if one of those is not at a minimum threshold, if there's one that's really lagging far behind, it's hard to feel like you're fulfilled enough in what you're doing. So if you're doing work you like to do, but the people you're working with are terrible, or you doing work that you like to do and the people that you're working with are great, but you're working for like a company that does something you completely disagree with, it makes it really hard to be able to show up and feel like you're showing up as your authentic self, because there's a big thing that's missing. There's a big gap, any way you look at it. So they're all kind of important. And it doesn't mean you have to have 100%, hitting 100% in all the categories, but I feel like there needs to be a minimum threshold in each of the categories that needs to be met in order to really feel like you're providing value, you're feeling valued, you're enjoying the work that you do, and you're using your strengths and your talents. Okay. So on that note, let's play the Unlimited Possibilities game. All right. So fun. This is so fun. Okay, so this is how we're going to do it. You're going to open up your passion profile, so page 142 in your workbook, and we're going to figure out who's going to go first. And whoever goes first, that person is going to read out what they have listed under interests, talents, style, and environment. And you're going to read it out slowly twice. So you read through the whole thing once, slowly, and then you read through it again, slowly. And as the person is speaking, everyone else, so you guys are going to need some paper for this. So if you need to go get paper, go get paper. But you want to have, I would say, have a sheet of paper, a big or a small sheet of paper, or half a sheet of paper for each person. Okay, and you want to write, whoever's reading it out, you want to write their name. You're the person, the listener. The listener writes the reader, the person who's reading, writes their name, and then as that person is reading out their lists, you want to write down ideas that come to you for that person. These could be ideas of jobs. They could be ideas of industries, projects that they could work on, companies that they could work for, people that they could work with. Like, the sky's the limit. And I want you to honor your intuitive wisdom here. So please do not edit. Just allow yourself to write down what comes to you and be okay with whatever comes out. Okay. And once the person's done reading, I'm going to give you probably 30 seconds to finish writing down some ideas. And then we'll go to the next person. And then we'll do it again. And then we'll go to the next person. And we'll do it again. And we'll go to the next person. Now, and then after everyone's got their turn, what you're going to do is in the WhatsApp group, hopefully this isn't going to be too much, this is going to be a lot of typing for you in the WhatsApp group on your phones. There is a way, there's, maybe I'll send directions via email. WhatsApp has like a web app that you can go and access the group on your laptop. It's really easy. And you could just type down in there, what I want you to do is type out, okay, for Nancy, here are all my ideas. And for Sue, here are all my ideas. And for Dolores, here are all my ideas. And for Valeria, here are all my ideas. And then you hit send. And then we'll get to see in the WhatsApp group what your ideas are for each person. It's so fun to receive the ideas from everyone else for what they think you should do. Okay, does that make sense? Is it clear? Yeah, I'm getting a yes from Sue, a yes from Valeria, a yes from Dolores. Okay, all right. Nancy, I'm assuming you're a yes. I can't see you because maybe you could turn your video on again. I don't know.
So I'm just going to talk. So yes.
Okay, great. Okay, is there someone who wants to read out first?
Want me to go because I'm already unmuted?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, here goes.
Okay. Everyone got paper and a pen and ready to write? All right.
So I have a whole bunch for each one. So I'm thinking we're supposed to have this many in each one. So it feels like a lot, but here goes. Ready? Okay, interests: counseling, psychology, technology, design, fashion, style, human development, marketing, business, finance, health and the healing arts, nature, philosophy. Talents: conceptualize, translate, present, speak, be humorous, coach, implement, initiate, persuade, synthesize. Style: aesthetically focused, conceptual, cooperative, insightful, empathetic, enthusiastic, creative, introspective. Environment: autonomy, customer contact, I can't read my writing, cooperative, interesting challenges, creativity, open communication, natural light, flex time, teamwork, contemporary design. That's it.
Okay. Now read them out again, slowly.
Interests: counseling, psychology, technology, design, fashion, style, human development, marketing, business and finance, health and the healing arts, nature, philosophy. Talents: conceptualize, translate, present, speak, be humorous, coach, implement, initiate, persuade, synthesize. Style: aesthetically focused, conceptual, cooperative, insightful, empathetic, enthusiastic, creative, introspective. Environment: autonomy, customer contact, cooperative, interesting challenges, creativity, open communication, natural light, flex time, teamwork, contemporary design.
Okay. 15 more seconds. Okay. Thank you, Nancy. All right. Who's ready to share?
This is extremely unpleasant for me, and I'm going to share, so I just get this out of the way. For whatever reason, this is very scary for me. Okay. Interests, is that what I start with? Interests.
Yeah.
Okay. business, design, human development, health, psychology, sexuality, fitness, creativity, documentary, film. I don't always have all 11. Talents. Hold on. Implement, create, speak, communicate, observe, analyze, synthesize, solve problems, conceptualize, facilitate change, persuade. Style. Okay. Assertive, conceptual, creative, dependable, enthusiastic, energetic, honest, insightful, intuitive, loyal. Environment. Autonomy, challenge, cooperation, creativity, customer contact, innovation, natural light, open communication, flex time, teamwork, like-minded people. Do I start over?
Go a little slower.
Okay.
Yes. You're doing great.
Okay, thanks. So just now I have to just repeat it. Okay, interests. Business, design, human development, and then I have in parentheses, I didn't say this last time, creative self-expression, health, mind, body health, psychology, sexuality, fitness, creativity, documentary film. Talents. Sorry, I don't have it in a good order. Talents, okay. Implement, create, speak, communicate, observe, analyze, synthesize, solve problems, conceptualize, facilitate, change, persuade. Interest, talents. Style. Assertive, conceptual, creative, dependable, enthusiastic, energetic, honest, insightful, intuitive, loyal. Environment. Autonomy, challenge, cooperation and collaboration, creativity, customer contact, innovation, natural light, open communication, flex time, teamwork, like-minded people. That's everything.
I'd add one more in there, courageous.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that one. Thank you. I'm adding.
Few more seconds here.
I'll go.
Okay.
I don't think well, maybe I do have all 10, so we'll see. So for interest, I put sociology, diversity. I put play/fun, art, media, diversity, film, business, spiritual, and health. For talents, I put empathy, intuitive, creative, interview, facilitate change, implement, conceptualize, synthesize, and responsible. Style, I have, I put clean, classic, easygoing, calm, driven, creative, forward-thinking, big picture, enthusiastic, and introspection. For environment, seem to have a lot. For environment, I have space, open. I put pretty things, contemporary design, multicultural, diversity, community, neatness, inspiring leadership, like-minded people. I wrote lots of tools and light. So I'll repeat it again. For interest, sociology, diversity, play, fun, art, media, diversity, film, business, spiritual, and health. Talents, empathy, intuitive, creative, interview, implement, conceptualize, synthesize, responsible, facilitate change. Style, clean, classic, easygoing, calm, driven, creative, forward thinking, big picture, enthusiastic, introspection. And for environment, space, open, pretty things, contemporary design, multicultural, diversity, community, neatness, inspiring leadership, like-minded people, lots of tools, I'm not sure where, and light. I'm not sure why I put that, but anyway. Oh, I can't hear you.
Well, I was muted.
Oh, okay.
Who's got a question?
I do. I just have a clarification I want to ask
Yeah.
her. Tools. Do you mean physical tools like hammers, screwdrivers, or do you mean other kind of tools?
No, I think other kind of tools. Just having a lot of things sort of in my
Toolbox.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, a few more seconds here. All right. Are we ready to move on to Valeria?
There you go.
Yeah.
I follow a little bit those that were there, but I kind of came up with my own.
Okay.
I never really follow the lines, but so interests, I have storytelling, creativity, life meaning, psychology, personal development, resilience, healing, the theory of multiple intelligences, mind mastery, and living with purpose. Talent, writing, discovering patterns, motivating, visualizing, teaching, seeing the bigger picture, coaching, providing spiritual guidance, public speaking, crafting stories. Style, visionary, inspirational, curious, insightful, unconventional, contemplative, creative, idealistic, improvisational. Environment, diversity, natural light, playground, creativity, collaboration, open communication, travel, freedom, open, fluid, and dynamic. So again, interest, storytelling, creativity, life meaning, psychology, personal development, resilience, healing, mind mastery, living with purpose, theory of multiple intelligences. Talents, writing, discovering patterns, motivating, visualizing, teaching, seeing the bigger picture, coaching, providing spiritual guidance, public speaking, crafting stories. Style, visionary, inspirational, curious, insightful, unconventional, contemplative, creative, idealistic, improvisational. Environment, diversity, natural light, playground, open communication, collaboration, travel, freedom, open, fluid, and dynamic.
Okay. Okay. So what I'd love for you to do is either tonight or tomorrow, put your list of ideas into the WhatsApp group for each person. Okay. And I'm going to show you, let me get to what's, okay, so let me show you this. I'm going to show you how to get to the WhatsApp web.
Kelly, how many ideas would you like? Just because it might be like pulling teeth for me, because this is hard for me. So how many, like, what do you think?
It's
What's reasonable?
more than one.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so it ranges. Like some people
Okay.
put a few ideas in, some people put 10 ideas for each person in. It's really just what came up for you. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So to get to the WhatsApp for web, what you do is you type in WhatsApp web. Okay. So WhatsApp web. Okay. And then you can click here, right? web.whatsapp.com. Now, the first time it asks you to it'll ask you for something on, I wonder if there's a way I can sign out here, hopefully. New group, log out. All right, I'm going to log out. Okay, so I'm logged out. So this is what'll happen. You open WhatsApp on your phone. You go to menu, right? So my menu is the thing at the bottom. You see that at the bottom, and then you click on that on the settings. The settings is all the way over to the right. So you click settings, and then it'll say there's an option for WhatsApp web/desktop, and you click that, and then you'll see the QR code. And you, hold on, how does that work? Okay, got it. Oh, you click okay, got it. And then you take it'll show like a camera, and then you just put that in front of the QR code on your, on your screen, like with your camera, and it'll log you in.
Wow.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, you should see the Pivot with Purpose group, and you can just type like you'd be typing an email. Cool. Everyone got that? All right. And if you need, if you can't figure it out, just message me and I'll let you know. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's go now. All right. So next week, or this coming week, we're going to be diving into or starting the third phase of the program, which is the future. And this is about pulling together everything that's you've unearthed, all of the themes and the patterns that keep coming up for you in the exercises that you're doing in the workbook and the things that you're noticing throughout your week. And here's where you start to synthesize them into some potential ideas. So we're gonna touch on next week. We'll focus, and Laurel's gonna be your facilitator next week. So what a treat for you all. Creativity, play with possibilities, and oh man, Laurel has creativity in spades. So this is a perfect session for her to do with you. And then integrity, claim a purpose. And we have an, I feel like our approach to claiming purpose is a really, it's accessible. And you'll see what I mean, because there's, you know, you're going to create a hat for each of your roles that you have in your life, and then you create a purpose for each of your hats. So it feels a little less high stakes, as in, oh my God, I need to know what my ultimate, only sole purpose is here on life, right? We're not going there. I mean, you can go there. Like if you know it and you're ready to claim it, go there. But most of the time, we get at it in a more accessible way, less intimidating way. All right, so creativity and integrity next week. All right, so for your homework, I want you to enter your unlimited possibilities you have for each person into the WhatsApp group, and then complete the workbook chapters on creativity and integrity. So now we have an opportunity for a nice long checkout or abundant checkout. Before we go into concluding for the evening, what I'd like to hear from you is any questions you have, curiosities, anything that you'd like me to address before we move into sharing and closing. Okay, so I think we have time for this. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually split you guys into dyads, 2 groups of 2. And I would like for you to share with one another. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Cancel, delete. What I'd like for you to share in our checkout is any insights that came up for you tonight or over this past week around abundance, authenticity. Feel free to talk about both. You can also close with something you're grateful for. Okay, so an insight or takeaway, or more than one, on abundance and authenticity, and then something that you're grateful for.
Kelly, you said insights and then something we're grateful for. Did I miss something in between those?
Nope. So insights from today's session or from the work that you did this past week around authenticity and abundance.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's ready to go? Okay, Nancy will go, but you're muted.
I feel like I have to toggle. Okay. Um, the insight is that I have a lot of abundance that I just take for granted. And so to really recognize the abundance and sometimes realizing that it becomes overwhelming. So stop asking for what, what you can't handle. And so the authenticity is that, yeah, there's a lot of abundance going on and I just need to stop for a moment and feel it. And I think that's what I think this time is going to show me, this self-imposed quarantine or externally imposed quarantine, of just, there's a lot here and I just need to stop and appreciate it. And so I am grateful for that I have so much in my life, so many wonderful people in my life, and so much good work in my life, and so much accessibility in my life, except for toilet paper.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm grateful for, having such wonderful abundance of so many things, including this group and letting you all listen to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
I'll go next, I guess. In terms of abundance, I guess it's similar to what Nancy was saying, how really the concept of abundance is really created in our mind. Because in terms of both money, time, opportunities, I don't remember who I heard saying that, there was somebody they were interviewing or talking to somebody who had millions, and still they didn't feel they had enough to be able to make certain changes in their lives, right? Sorry. And so that was just hit me. And then I started thinking about friends that I have that really have very, very little, but in this situation, they're not freaking out. They're still feeling grateful and abundant. So it's all in our minds. It's all a matter of perception. And then in terms of authenticity, for me, it's realizing and forcing myself to realize that even if I want to pivot to a career that is quite different from what I've been doing for the last, really all my life, there are skills that are transferable. I think I got, when you go and interview for a job, sometimes you encounter people that really just judge you based on the skills that you have that apply to that job. And they don't look at anything else that you can bring to the table. And I think as a society, we're indoctrinated to think that way, right? And instead, on this path that we're on, it's really important to value the things that even we got not in as a result of our professional experiences, but our life experiences that can be valuable in a future career. And so, I'm trying to be mindful of that for myself. And I wanted to add something, since we're talking about abundance. I came across these, Sue and I talked about it in our, kind of peer-to-peer touch point last week. I came across something it's called flow dreaming. It's this lady that's doing, it's not a meditation, it's basically how to combine the idea of being in flow with daydreaming to create a sense of infinite abundance and flow in your life. And she carries you through this meditation. I have two audios, one that actually explains to you how that goes, and another one that helps you go into this positive flow. And so I wonder if you would like me to share it in the app, because it's really cool. I've been doing this for 2 days, and it's all about visualizing the flow and also feeling the emotions of being in flow and letting go of the stuff that don't serve you. So I'll share these two things on WhatsApp. And finally, being grateful. I guess I want to say that I'm grateful for Sue, because when we started the program, I wasn't considering doing the peer-to-peer, contact outside of these group classes. And instead, we've been doing it now. We did it twice. And it's very useful. We do it on Sunday night. So at the end of the week, we kind of take that time to reflect and come up with new ideas, right? And share insights. And then we set kind of an intention for the week. So it's been very useful.
Yeah, I think so too.
So you want to go?
Me?
Thank you, Valeria. And I can't wait to see that flow meditation. I'm going to do it.
That's so exciting. Yeah. So let me just segue to say I also have found working with Valeria to be extremely useful. And you mentioned the storytelling. Let me just say that. I'll say what I'll say about that later. So the insight, I don't know, but I look back to see what I had put the big star on, because I put the big star on the inside. So whatever I write something down. And I think for me is very powerful was that poem about breathe in authenticity and breathe out struggle. And it was like, aha, because a lot of things feel like struggle for me a lot. And so but I do feel I'm very strong in authenticity, So the fact that I can use that strength to counterbalance the struggle, like that was a revelation. So I can breathe in authenticity because I can do authenticity. And then let go of the struggle, because what I gather from that is that if you're authentic, it won't feel like such a struggle. If you're coming toward the world with authenticity, the struggle won't feel as great, and that applies to me in a lot of different ways. So I like that a lot. The other thing I don't think has to do with this, like these chapters per se necessarily, it's just the process that I've been like raving about. Like I love the workbook, by the way, Kelly. I think it's a really great workbook. Yeah, and I spent like 4 hours on Saturday. And what I'm doing is like going to like a cafe. I was in a restaurant, at my parents' apartment. They weren't there, just all different places that I've been doing the workbook. And somehow this segues to what I'm trying to say, which is I am absolutely honoring the need that I need structured support, which I've brought up here before. That looks like structured support to me because it's homework, and I guess I'm a good student. I don't know. I don't even really look at myself that way, but it's an assignment and I'm committed to doing it. And then I find an environment that I feel held. There's people around. Well, that's not going to happen in the future, maybe right now, and so that permission to do this work, like in my own way, has just been so great. And so I'm honoring that the structured support's what I need to get more of in my life. Stop resisting it, try to find it, let it come in. Okay, so those are my things. Oh, then I want to go back to Valeria. Do I have time to say one more thing? I don't want to take too much time. Okay, a friend of mine was saying, I own a property that has 3 structures, 2 cottages that I live in one, my renter lives in another, and then in the back, I just have this like storage space that's now a recreational space. And so she said, why don't you have a gallery back there or do something back there, let people like display. I started thinking, because what I'm interested in is these workshops that are experiential workshops that have to do with self-expression, like the dance thing. My friend does collaging that way. And so I started talking to people, just throwing it out to them. Would you want to, would you hold a class in my back space? Or, would you want to do that? And I've talked to maybe about 3 people. And then Valeria was also very inspiring around that. She was very supportive around that. And she's a storyteller. And I want her to come and do a storytelling workshop. But so she's part of the fact that somehow this time when I'm putting stuff out, I'm getting positive stuff back every time I mention it. And I mentioned it to my therapist because I thought therapists would be a great source of referrals to very specific experiential experiences, workshops. And she said, well, absolutely. I refer all the time people to specific things, like a woman who does therapy with horses, let's say. She refers her clients if she feels they need it. So everybody's just been very positive. It makes me feel very happy right now. So I don't want to let go of this thread.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Dolores?
Well, I don't have as much. I think, just for the insights, it's just that there are a lot of things that I like. There are a lot of things that I have an interest in, and really just trying to figure out how to put them together in a way that could, facilitate like a new chapter for me, career-wise. And I think, really just recognizing that, and then just sort of knowing and remembering that I can be authentic, and that I do possess a lot of qualities, that I do not have to play small, that I do not have to almost sort of like, I don't want to say hide, but just sort of not be my full self, I guess, in front of people. And just sort of recognizing that, like, don't shrink myself down to sort of fit what their impression is of who I'm supposed to be. Because maybe they might not necessarily like what I say or what I do, or maybe they would, but I think part of that is recognizing that I do not have to do that. I can be my full self, my whole self, and do that. And, I'm just sort of, grateful for the class, grateful for, sort of being here, grateful for toilet tissue because I was able to find some. Because I did have my challenge with that. So yeah, so that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you to each of you. So Nancy started us off. Valeria, we've heard from everyone. Well, I think I'll share in terms of authenticity. There's for me, there's kind of a fear around visibility, I think. And so Dolores, when you talk about playing small or
Shrinking myself.
Yeah. So I think that there is an opportunity for me in authenticity to continue to claim more of who I am in a more visible way going forward. And certainly, I think something that I'm very grateful for right now is my body and the ability to transform how I'm feeling energetically, emotionally through movement. So I did some freeform dancing earlier today, and it just felt great. And having my 25 to 29 minute sweat workout sessions in the basement feels great, and being able to go out for walks behind our house during the day is wonderful. So I'm feeling very grateful for my physical body and the health that it has. And I'm grateful for all of you for showing up week after week and for doing this work and for sticking with it, because I know that it brings things up. It brings up doubts or insecurities or fears. But when we stick with it and we remember that our brains can't, our mind, what is the phrase? Our minds cannot focus on positive and negative information at the same time. Mm-hmm. So, the quickest way for us to stop feeling bad and having bad thoughts or negative thoughts is to move into some kind of practice that helps us feel more positive. Mm. So you all are going to get 9 minutes back in your lives this evening. And we'll see you next week. Laurel will see you next week. Okay?
Am I supposed to talk to you tomorrow?
Yes, I think so. I have, are we still on?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We're coming next week too, Kelly?
Say that again, Sue?
We're seeing you next week also, as well as Laurel? You're not
No. No,
Okay.
my son has spring break next week, and even though we were supposed to be in Florida and we're not going to be in Florida, his preschool is currently still open this week, so it's a very small group. So he's going this week, which means that I can work this week, but next week I won't be able to work.
Okay. Okay, good. We'll see
So
you.
Laurel will be with you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, you all have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.